You watch anime to feel something. Let's be real, you know it, I know it. Whether it be adrenaline, humor, or horny, I guess, I don't judge. You want to feel something. No matter what story it is, what medium it is, or what feeling it conveys. To sum it up, that's called heart. You want something with heart. Don't worry, I got you. Sometimes you come across something where the prevailing thought is just, man, this has heart. And that's because that feeling is exuded in every facet of an experience. Seldom will you come across that, but you'll never be the same when you do. Such is the case with Violet Evergarden, a truly special story told and produced to its potential. Enough so that even the people that helped make it said that this isn't a series that can be summed up succinctly. And maybe that's true, but you can say that it has heart. This is the heart behind Violet Evergarden.
I just want to know what I love you means.
Words can be interpreted different ways. The words themselves don't tell the whole story.
You'll become much more than a weapon of war. You write letters that bring people together. You can't erase the past. Although, everything you've done as an auto memories doll won't disappear either.
If it is your wish, I will travel anywhere to meet you. I am an auto memories doll. My name is Violet Evergarden.
Violet Evergarden is a story about a girl and her journey to find the meaning of the words, I love you. Sounds straightforward, but that plot leaves room for so much to happen. An opportunity that the light novel's author, Kana Akatsuki, believed in when the novel was submitted to Kyoto Animation's annual award show, dedicated to highlighting promising novels, manga, and whatnot. These awards held hope for young authors not just to have their work published, but maybe even adapted into an anime. Some of KyoAni's most popular series got adapted after being acknowledged here, albeit just as honorable mentions. Yeah, even these big series couldn't win a grand prize at these awards. The standards the judges had for these works were just that high. But one submission was awarded the grand prize at these awards, and is to date the only submission across any category to do so. Violet Evergarden. The judges were floored by the emotion within the story, and KyoAni without question published the series under their Kei-Esuma Bunko imprint. One judge in particular was so amazed by what he read that he spearheaded a campaign to have Violet Evergarden animated. That man was the series director, Taichi Ishidate. Aided with series unit director Haruka Fujita and character designer Akito Takase, the latter of whom also illustrated the light novel, these guys led a project KyoAni put a lot of emotional stock into, and yet worked with a crew that was relatively small and really young during a time in which KyoAni was popping off relentlessly with one banger after another. But the crew worked with both something to prove and an even stronger desire to get this story right. Following a commercial for the light novel that announced the anime's production, which set the entire internet on fire, the anime released in the winter 2018 season, coupled with some further content, all frolicking in the praise. And the only way to really sum it up is, everything was beautiful. Seriously, everything about Violet Evergarden has some essence of beauty in it. Starting with how it looks. Violet's production value is a feat of TV anime. The amount of lines and careful detail in the design of its characters, the amount of in-betweens in their movements, the scenery painting a soothing world that you'd want to just leap into. These are elements of a production that you'd liken more to a film production than a TV one. The visuals elicit a sense of joy on their own, allowing viewers to develop a warm feeling to the experience. And simultaneously, the music develops a further feeling of wonder. Evan Call is mostly known now for his work on Freerun, but that doesn't diminish his work on Violet's score in any capacity. What's cool about both of these soundtracks is that they provide a backing track fitting for an adventure, but where Freerun focuses on the fantasy, Violet settles on something more delicate. The score has this range of delight and mystery, peace and discovery, all of it so lovely and fitting for a story that encompasses all its production components allows it to. If we've learned anything from Solo Leveling, it's that things can look good and sound good, but its true worth will be determined by its story. In Violet Evergarden's, Let's start with the basics in the beginning. Violet's a child soldier, rigid, emotionless, only caring for her superior. Her standard report gets blown out the window and into the world, a world that awaits Violet. This world is one consisting of its denizens living peacefully, everyone with their own individual lives, routines, and, most importantly, feelings. And it'll be Violet's job to uncover those feelings on her own journey to find out what I love you means, i.e. the last words her major said to her. Violet's adventure starts at the local post office, where she works as an auto memories doll, which is, for all intents and purposes, a scribe. An admirable doll, though, doesn't just scribe. They interpret their clients' feelings and put them to paper, connecting the hearts of its sender and its recipient. Violet's role as a doll forces her to understand that part of the job, even if she comes into it lacking.
Well,
Crying gets in the way of our work. Please stop crying immediately.
Luckily, the help she has from her co-workers at the CH Postal Company makes this place feel like home. Hodgins, as the guy that Major Gilbert entrusted to look after Violet, takes on that responsibility like a father figure, with his actions towards Violet ultimately being to help her get to a place where she can find her own way. I guess that makes Benedict like an older brother. He's very flamboyant, I mean, look at his heels. But it helps to see someone who's both earnest and just living his life. It's her fellow dolls, though, who not only give Violet something to learn from, but actively shape her while going on their own paths. Iris is prideful, with her dream to become the #1 doll, Erica is shy and unsure of herself, and Catalay is a really nice woman who tries to help her coworkers understand their work, each other, and to reach their potential. And her relationship with Violet is no exception. It allows for Violet to take after such an ideal in her own way. Iris and Erica, anime original characters by the way, are also finding their way. Iris is always trying to move ahead, but finds herself stuck at every turn, and that there's nothing really connecting her with Violet. Erica, on the other hand, finds more in common with Violet than not. She actually sees Violet's shortcomings in herself, which is why she can't even tell Violet if she's fit to be a doll because she doesn't even know about herself. It's Violet's curiosity that prompts these two and herself to address these parts of themselves they may not want to. All to understand their own feelings so they can better understand others and become better dolls. You see how this is all coming together? The CH Postal Company is the hub for these different people to bounce off of each other and feel alive just like the rest of the world. In that way, it's also a microcosm for how Violet will go out and interact with the world on a much broader scale. Because beyond its walls is where she embarks on her journey for real. Violet, as a doll or a person, isn't perfect, but she still has to go out into the world and do her job. Her travels take her everywhere, from her new home in Leidenschaftlich to writing love letters for the Princess of Drossel, then helping another scholar transcribe damaged manuscripts in Estrella, then helping a secluded playwright write his next play at his summer home in Genetrix, and even going beyond the borders of the Southern Union to write for soldiers missing their loved ones. I name these places because these are things happening in places that you can piece together on a map. The lore of this series binds its world together, especially with the war and its after effects. The effects of this war still loom on the general population now. Those sentiments are spawned in the questions the clients ask about their letters. They ask, how do I express this? How do I reach him or her? How do I convey what I really feel? Through each job Violet takes, each client is forced to dig deep and answer those questions. And the search for those answers is the fulfillment of watching Violet Evergarden. We get to see people uncover trauma that's shackled them, but also discover themselves in a way they truly needed to. The series, in a myriad of ways, tackles all this, and the world works in its favor to connect and contextualize all the things happening in a meaningful way. My favorite episode that does this isn't even an episode in the series proper. It's in the special, Surely Someday You Will Understand Love. This is the one where Violet works with an opera singer who's very picky about a love letter everyone can identify with. Draft after draft until Violet ends up being told that this isn't a love letter Irma's after. It's a song. This is something that Violet doesn't understand, which paves not just the way for help and fun moments with her coworkers, but pushes Violet to a deeper understanding to express love in a way everyone can relate to. Meanwhile, the connection between Hugo, Irma's lover, and the son of Aldo, the conductor and writer of this new opera, never returned from that war, giving this project immense stakes for the two people who, like many people, have been living frozen in time due to the war. This leads to one of the most hard-hitting things we see in the entire series. For inspiration, Violet gets taken to this abandoned mailroom, filled with shelves of letters in which both their senders and receivers passed. As the letters scatter on the ground, the inspiration strikes. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you, all across the floor. That sight forges the lyrics of the song, one that Irma can sing proudly, and for her, Aldo, and everyone else living in stasis can confront that fractured love and allow time to start again. Lovely work came to fruition because of how Violet reflected the feelings that needed to be expressed. One of many testaments to how this life and this vast world has shaped her, just as she's trying to find what love means. Violet Evergarden is a doll in more ways than one. Her pretty look does have something to do with that, but you pair that with her rigid yet polite mannerisms, you get every person that meets her likening her to a doll. Which actually isn't a bad description for Violet's arc at all, especially for where she starts, and I mean before episode 1. A girl with a mysterious past, trained to be a weapon, obediently killing countless people. It wasn't until she was given to her major, Gilbert, as a gift did she actually experience any sort of treatment as a human being. She learned to speak, to read, to write, anything Gilbert could do to make her more of a person than a tool. It was the only form of genuine love anyone had given her, and even though she couldn't understand that, she did develop feelings for him. At the start, it's Major this, Major that. She doesn't even know that he died in the war, and Hodgins doesn't tell her, but he does tell her that she's burning. Burning with the fire of the things she did in the war engulfed in her heart. But because she doesn't appear to be burning, she insists that she's fine. Violet takes everything in a literal way because, to be blunt, she doesn't understand any sort of nuance. But Hodgins knows that Violet does have feelings, and she does have a heart, and eventually she'll understand that too. Her journey to find the meaning of the words I love you coincide directly with that, but she just doesn't understand, and early on her coworkers don't understand her. The disconnect between her and the rest of the world is humorous at times, but it also shapes the perspective we experience the story in. People think there's no way Violet can be a doll. Someone like her, she's not cut out for that. But it's a journey that Violet embarks on regardless. Whether it's through her interactions at the CH Postal Company or on her jobs across the land, Violet's role in all this can be described as, paraphrasing the people behind the show, a prism. Violet takes in the light of the world and reflects it in her own way. She experiences the world not just as an observer, but someone who's actively being shaped by the people she comes across. The light she reflects shines into the lives of the people she meets, like how she inspires her fellow dolls to realize their setbacks and confront them, or how she motivates Princess Charlotte to skip the showmanship and write her betrothed directly and honestly, or in going the extra mile for Oscar to help him give the protagonist of his play the happy ending he wishes his daughter could have had. Through these experiences, she develops empathy, which gives her the chance to thrive in her new life, but also the clarity to see the magnitude of her past sins. By the halfway point of the series, Violet has learned the value of life, and from that epiphany, she faces the guilt of the countless lives she's taken. She wasn't able to understand the scope of that before, or the raging fire inside of her.
Have I not taken away someone's one day before? And did those people not have people they loved as well?
I'm not burning.
I am burning.
I am not burning.
I am burning. I feel the fire spreading. From all the things I've done, I'm on fire.
Unsure if she's even allowed to live. Just right in time for her foster mother to let slip that Gilbert died during the that's the worst time to let that slip. This stretch is where Violet gets shown at her darkest. The one she loved, The one who led her on a path to feel like a person, gone. The man who tried so hard to give Violet the life of a normal girl, but the one who still fought and killed all because it was what she knew. She should have never been in that situation. And Gilbert knew that too.
Violet, you have to live.
To keep living?
I love you.
I love you?
You've really worked very hard.
What progress?
We're all waiting to see you.
What support? What's the point of any of it? And why won't the burning stop?
Major, please, give me an order.
That all having been said, the weight of this suffering isn't enough to negate the good she's been able to do. The guy who received a letter that Violet helped write wants her to help him write one back as he gets his life together, because that letter helped him do that. Meanwhile, the old delivery man hands a letter to Violet written by Erica and Iris, and before reading it, Violet helps him deliver some letters, back to where Violet started. But more so a reminder of the importance of those letters, because each one is someone's precious memories after all.
And every letter deserves to be delivered.
These deliveries help Violet see how special any letter is, giving even further weight to the letter written to her by her fellow dolls, especially as the first letter she ever received. And it's that in which Violet can see in full detail not just the good that she's been able to do, but the true, substantial weight of that good. She might not know if she's a worthy doll. She might not know if she even has the right to live. But even though the past can't be erased, neither will any of the good things she's done and will continue to do. When you look at it, this series isn't just about Violet Evergarden, but the people and feelings that she connects. The secret to what makes this series so special is the mix of the feelings that are put into words and how those feelings are delivered, and the rightful distinction they have as treasures to the people that receive them. And Violet forges ahead with that crucial understanding as the person she has now become. A person that immediately gets put to the test in the very next episode. Episode 10 deserves to be acknowledged on its own. It's evil how this takes place right after the most emotional arc of the series so far, but it's also one of the best standalone anime episodes ever made. This is an episode where Violet writes a letter for an ill widow with a single daughter. Anne is just a kid who thinks Violet's a literal doll and is in general naive but curious. The week Violet spends on this job means a lot of time with her mother, and by proxy, less time Anne gets with her mother, especially when Violet does a lot of things Anne's mother did now in her stead. Violet realizes that and is just trying her best while Anne tries to cope with it. Of course, she can't bear that the entire time, tearfully expressing her fears to her mother, who you can't blame for being this afraid for a life after her mother's gone. It's a pain Violet understands, and all too well, by now. She's the one that has to keep it all together to help a grieving child. Anne's trying to process so much that she just can't make sense of. But Violet, having grown into the person that she is, having understood so intimately the value of life and the feelings people want to express and the importance of letters themselves, she tries to assure Anne that it's going to be okay.
There's no such thing as a letter that doesn't deserve to be delivered.
Dear Anne, happy 8th birthday. I know you may be sad and feel like crying sometimes, but please don't ever forget. Your mother loves you very much, even now. Happy 10th birthday. I'm sure you've grown up quite a lot. Happy 18th birthday. You're a young lady now. Have you fallen in love? You're already 20 years old now. That's amazing. Whenever you're feeling down, remember that I am with you. Anne, I will always, always be watching over you.
And of course, the weight of writing 50 letters for Anne's next 50 birthdays wasn't lost on Violet either. This isn't the expressionless girl that started the show. This is a Violet that values the ethos behind what she does more than anything. She wants to take the love she learned from Gilbert and pass it along everywhere she goes, even in the face of someone like his dickhead brother Dayfried, who insists that Violet isn't capable of that. The same hands that killed so many, the girl that led his brother to his end, the same girl that's just a tool for war, he says as she tanks bullets for him, proving that she's fighting to protect the things she now sees as precious. Just to remind you, for the sake of finding what I love you means. By the end of the series, she finally realizes that. In the first air show in 5 years, Violet's encouraged to write a letter, which she writes to Gilbert. Unlike the mere report at the beginning of the series, this is a true letter. A letter written by Violet, now understanding the meaning of those 3 small words. As that letter falls in the sky along with countless others, Violet Evergarden, as a doll and a person, lives with those feelings close to her heart. But why not test her one last time? Violet Evergarden the movie. The last leg of the story is the thing that brings it all home in multiple ways. First off, surprise, Gilbert's alive. Second, the world is changing fast with the technological advancements in communication just around the corner, threatening to throw dolls, letters, and everything we learned about all that into obsolescence. These 2 conflicts feel impactful because of everything we went through, in particular with the fact that Gilbert's alive with Violet not even thinking twice to see him again. Fair enough. But she simultaneously takes a job to help a dying child write some final letters to his family that the kid entrusts Violet to deliver. But of course, Gilbert. Now living in the north, he gets to see firsthand the people he called enemies in the war and the land he now calls home rebuilding itself from the war. It's in a very similar way Violet and other characters confronted and coped with the war that Gilbert does as well. In his case, trying to be a good man for the people in his life now, which also includes writing letters for the children. See that connection there? But he's also carrying the weight of those actions and how he felt he failed Violet. So when Violet does track him down,
Go away.
he can't bear the life he kept Violet in and pushes her away with the belief that she's better off without him in his life. But he didn't take into account that Violet did everything she did, both as a soldier and as a civilian, because of her love for Gilbert. And you tell me if you dedicated your life for someone that you wouldn't feel crushed either.
Gilbert, you idiot!
It was an ugly meeting, pairing with the uglier situation of Violet being unable to deliver the letter she was entrusted to. Thankfully, Benedict and Iris stepped in to finish the job and help give his family that closure. That gives some relief on Violet's side, and it's enough that, with full clarity, Violet leaves the island the next day. But not before writing and sending Gilbert one last letter of gratitude. It's a bittersweet ending. One where Gilbert has to live but consciously move forward after his missteps, and Violet going her own way with the things that Gilbert had given her to live her own life, faults and all. This isn't how the movie ends.
Violet, wait!
I have thoughts about this ending. For the sake of argument, I'm going to avoid the whole age gap thing. It's also not the first time that this comes up in the series anyway. This is a beautiful moment, and it's such an emotional high. But why? Why stage such a bittersweet but effective ending for these characters? An ending for Violet that would really cap off her entire journey of learning and living and finally having a life she is living on her own, now truly free of the burdens of her past. Instead, she's face to face with the man that told her to pursue the freedom and gave her the goal that she achieved in finding the meaning of love. She throws away everything from her new life just to be with the Major. That goes against everything that we've done! She doesn't even tell him, I love you! She can't even speak! Well, I guess this was enough to get the point across. Actually, maybe that is the beauty of this moment. To leave everything she had behind is a choice she made out of love. Violet, now knowing what love means, is face to face with the man that taught her that. The same man that Violet wanted to tell the words I love you to more than anyone else. And here she is, overtaken by emotion in a way that no one could have imagined she would ever be. For Violet Evergarden, this is the pinnacle. I glossed over the other conflict in this film, but that's because I wanted to finish with it because I find it more interesting and impactful. When Benedict and Iris go to deliver the sick boy's final letters to his family, it also comes with the duty Iris now has to write one last letter to the kid's best friend. But there's no time to write one out. So the two get a phone ready, and the boy and his best friend are able to have one final, heartfelt conversation before he dies. After which, Iris, who's been bitter about these technological advancements afoot, is amazed at being able to witness friends pour their feelings to each other over the phone in real time like that.
That horrible device comes in handy, sometimes.
Up to this point, I had thought the beauty of words and letters was the crux of what makes Violet Evergarden so great. And that's still true. But at the very end of all of this, it's the greater range of mass communication and how one can pour their feelings into any messaging that gave me the most to think about. Things have evolved, from letters to telephones to radio to the modern methods of communication we have today. A single text doesn't carry the same weight as a handwritten letter delivered to your door. There's so much messaging in general that it's easy to just not feel anything. Maybe that apathy is tied to how mass communication now can be used to hurt and rip people apart, to say the very least. But if that last phone call, as well as every letter sent and received across the series run showed me anything, it's that it all can be used to express love and any other feelings that the center wants to convey. We all want to feel something. Some reminder that the same love we saw on display in Violet Evergarden is present in our own lives. You might think the solution is to write a letter to someone you love, and yeah, that's totally an option. But I'd open it up even further. Be it in writing, a call, even a text, whatever feeling you want to put out there, do it. Find it in your heart. Dig deep if you have to. Let your pain, joy, thrill, heartache, everything in between, let it all flow. All those feelings, they're valid. And they're real. I've been stumbling trying to find the right words to describe Violet Evergarden in all of its complexities because it's not something that can be easily summed up. But if there's anything I felt like Violet sends the strongest, it's to be in tune with your heart and live and love.